Welcome back. In today's video, we have a submission from Hemant Shohan. Did I pronounce it correctly? I don't know. Nonetheless, it's a game about dodging the blocks, and we have two versions of a game. We have for Windows and for Android. Since I'm using PC, I'll go with the Windows version. So let's try it out. Okay, here we go. Oh, so we have a giant red flag right at the beginning, and that's a security warning from Windows. Now this isn't good. If you want other people to play our game and something like this pops up, there's a high chance they won't even open the game whatsoever. I'm telling you this because I'm not sure if this is a virus, malware, or something of that nature. I am running this on a PC that I'm going to clean up anyways and format in the next few days because I am building a new PC soon, so I don't care either way this time around. But in the future, if something like this pops out, I'm not gonna open it. So just a clear warning for anyone in the future and future submissions, okay? So regardless, let's go and see what do we have. I'll choose English, so I have to choose the installation, okay? And let's see, let's install it. Okay, let's launch the game. Made with Unity, nice. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about UI. When it comes to buttons, I see that they change colors when I hover over them and they change colors when I press on them. So you have the functionality which is very nice, and that is the dynamic change of buttons in the UI depending on the event that is happening. So that's okay. However, when it comes to the color theory, everything is off. First of all, you definitely need to have the buttons in the same color, so in the same style. This time around you have only 3 different buttons and you have 3 different colors, one for each of them. Now imagine you have 10 different buttons. Are you gonna have 10 colors for them? No, of course not. All you need is one color for all of the buttons. So one for the normal state, and that is the default state, one color for the hovering, and one when the button is being pressed or clicked. So I'm going to take this entire screenshot and bring it to Aseprite just to show you how you can soften it up a little bit for the eyes, because currently it's just too bright. So let's go and see. Okay, there we go. Now this is just one suggestion how you can change this up just when it comes to brightness. First of all, you want your background to be darker. If you have Aseprite, look here on the left. You can pick like any color for the background, but aim for it to be a bit darker. So let's say one of these two is totally fine. Blue is, let's give it this color. Yeah, any one of these two would work well. So let's say this one. And then for the buttons, you can pick any other color, perhaps something of this nature. So it can be something like this, and it's already quite a lot easier on the eyes. Now, since these buttons are a bit brighter, you definitely want to have dark letters. So you want to create that contrast. I'm going to increase the tolerance, just let's say maybe to like 26, and just color them like so. Now we do have these outlines like the green ones and the blue ones because Aseprite is pixel perfect, but hopefully you get the idea. So you can just go in Aseprite or take a screenshot from this video and just pick dark colors for the background and pick some of the brighter ones for the buttons, and you'll be good to go. So you essentially want to create something that is easy and pleasing on the eyes. You don't want it to be too bright like it is in currently for a game, because it's very fatiguing on the eyes. It's going to tire out your viewer. It's very harsh on the eyes. Now kids may love it, but usually people don't. So let's keep on going. Okay, so first I'm going to try the normal play and then the developer play. Okay, so you can choose the background color, which is quite nice, but most of these are way too bright. If you are making the game for kids who like saturated bright colors, then some of these would work, but not for the background. You want to keep those saturated colors for important objects, and you want the background to be a bit more muted, darker, desaturated. So from all of these, I'm going to keep the red color because this one, yeah, this one has the lowest value, meaning it's the darkest if I were to tune this to grayscale. So let's continue and see what we have. Oh, okay. Well, that was quick. I would recommend that you change the continue button to start game, so I know that the action is going to start. Okay, I'm moving left and right with arrow keys or A and D keys. So let's see if I can get to 100. Maybe something will happen. When it comes to movement, it's quite smooth. The frame rate is smooth. I don't see any flickering or stutters. And I think that the speed at which everything is showing up is consistent, so it doesn't change. I would say that this is a genre of endless runners. And in those types of games, as you further progress, you would usually have something a bit more difficult. So let's say the object is starting to move faster, or perhaps there are more traps and obstacles showing up, and so on. Functionality-wise, I can move left and right, and that's all there is to it. I cannot jump, I cannot slide under anything, so it's quite a simple game when it comes from mechanics perspective. And when it comes to visuals, they are quite simple, but the functionality works solidly. So I can move left and right. So the things that it does well. So there's one more thing that I forgot to test out, and that's sound. And there is no sound. Yeah, no sound, no music or sound effects. That's also something that you can definitely introduce into your game. Now let's see what the developer play does. Now this is a very familiar color, and it does nothing. Okay, so I'm guessing that the developer play regards only to your access. So if you are making a public build, remove this. Remove this, don't even have it. You can always have two builds, one for debugging and you as a developer that have access to, and one for the public that can play the game. So give me a second and I'll restart the game. And let's try the quit button. And it works well. Okay, so I'm just going to go back into the game and I'm going to click on developer play simply because it's easiest for the eyes. Okay, so to conclude everything from the gameplay perspective, it works well. So it's solid. I can move left and right and the gameplay loop is solid. I didn't see any bugs on that front at least. However, when it comes to UI and color design, color theory, there's a lot of space here to improve upon. Especially since you took my pixel art course, you're part of the community. I highly suggest that you share your progress, maybe introduce some pixel art into this game, or if you don't want pixel art, introduce some kind of different sprites, because visuals are very important. When you play a game, your game can have simple visuals, like for example, look at the Geometry Dash, but the game design is totally different in that game. There are also some tower defense games, even on Android, that uses only like circles and squares and rectangles instead of different sprites enemies, but they are fun, and that's more important. Now, this game is definitely fun for some people because it's very casual, but the visuals are interesting. So if you want to keep your gameplay loop simple like this one, and there's nothing wrong with it, please introduce some interesting visual effects. So make interesting sprites, make interesting background, introduce the visuals that is going to be like an eye candy. That's it. It's going to be visually interesting and appealing. If you don't want your gameplay loop to be complex or difficult, at least make it visually interesting. And the same goes for the sound. You have no sound effects or music. You definitely want at least something there. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be like some orchestral music with 50 different instruments. It's okay to just have something relaxing even. So there's that. Or you can choose even a bit of topic. Because you have the gameplay loop already done, you can change the sprites into something else. For example, you can pick a topic, let's say space or sci-fi. Then you can make like some kind of spaceships and let him move left and right and dodge the meteors, for example. Or this can be even a car on a road. If you want to go in another team, make it a car in the road and let it avoid other cars or vehicles and stuff like that. Also, from a game design perspective, all of the blocks are on the same line. You can definitely make those obstacles move, and by that I mean you can offset them up or down a little bit. So let me show you what I mean exactly. Okay, so do you see these are obstacles? Now imagine those are different things, but if you can like offset them a little bit, perhaps something like that, so you have more interesting maneuvering spaces to have, that would make it a bit more interesting. If you also want to add some extra functionality, like let's say your character can jump over certain obstacles or slide under certain obstacles, which is very common in endless runner games, those are the things that you can think about. So there's that. I'm just going to change the background so it's a bit easier on the eyes. That's all there is for now. I congratulate you on your first game. It's a very big step forward. Now it's time to improve upon your existing knowledge and keep on growing, so one day you can make a commercially successful game. That's all for today. Thank you for your submission, and as always, relax, enjoy, and have fun.